Lee from CoinNewsExtra.com. CoinNewsExtra.com is a media platform based in Nigeria. So we report about cryptocurrency and blockchain. So we have with us the CEO of BitSeeker. He is also the CEO of ABCD Token. So you are welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, so we are going to really talk about the Naira stablecoin that you guys invented recently. So before we go to the Naira stablecoin, please can you tell us about your company, what it's all about?
All right, thank you very much. So BitSeeker is basically trying to achieve seamless money transfer within Africa. So I guess everyone knows that it's difficult sending money from abroad to Africa, right? But what people don't acknowledge is that it's even far more difficult sending money within African countries. So if you want to send from Ghana to Nigeria, or from even Ghana to Togo, it's more complex, more obscure than even sending from America to Ghana. But then what people also don't know again is that most Africans who immigrate to like neighboring countries. And that's where a majority, or at least a good amount of remittance money comes from. It's like you just have so much money that has to flow between these African countries, but there's literally no efficient way to they have to go drive all the way to banks. And when you're dealing with banks, you just exclude so many people because of the barrier of entry of setting up a bank account. And you also exclude more people from participating in the transfer process because, you know, when you want to send money to another country in a bank in Africa, usually the person you're sending money to also has to belong to that bank. So it's a UX nightmare. So we basically built an app where you can literally sit in your chair right now or sit on a bed in your bedroom, and then I could send you money from Ghana to Nigeria right now, instantly, right now as we are talking. Or you can also send me money from Nigeria to Ghana instantly. So you can just imagine someone having to drive all the way to the bank to do that. By the time they start the car, within a minute of reaching the junction, you would have already sent the money from your phone. So that's the kind of company we have. It's BitSeeker. So we use cryptocurrencies. The name BitSeeker, you can hear bits in the name. We use cryptocurrencies to do that money transfer in the background. So the actual users don't have to touch crypto if they don't want to. You can load up Ghanaian money, which is cedis, and then your mom in Nigeria will receive Naira. And we use crypto, Bitcoin to make that transfer. But the person sending and the person receiving, they don't even have an idea it's crypto. They just receive and send their money. But we do all the crypto hard work in the background. Yeah. So that's basically what the company is. So as I said, it's mainly focused on Ghana and Nigeria now because those are like the two biggest markets. But we are going to be expanding next year, hopefully adding more countries. And you can also seamlessly send money between all of those countries.
Okay, that's very good. So what's actually, you still made mention of using cryptocurrency to do the work at the background. So is it the cryptocurrency you make use of, is it the ABCD token or is it Bitcoin?
Oh no, so it's very standard tokens like Bitcoin and stable coins as well. So because when people load money onto the app, so even though our app is a money transfer app, some people choose to store money on the app. And the reason why that is there's a good reason for them to store money is because when you upload money onto the app, whether it's Naira or CDs or Bitcoin or whatever, we store it as US dollars in stable coins. So that becomes very attractive to a lot of people. That, oh, I could load my Ghana money and you guys will just freeze it in US dollar value or US dollar credits. You get me? So that's just, it becomes very exciting, an exciting idea. So stable coins for storing the money, Bitcoin for borders.
Okay, that's very great. Recently, there is a news coming out. Even CoinNewsExtra, we carried the news of BitSeeker in partnership with ABCD Token launched a Naira stablecoin. So, can you just talk briefly about it? How is it going to work? Is it going to work exactly the same way USDT work, or what's actually backing the stablecoin?
Okay, that's a good question. So the stablecoin is called ABCD, and we actually founded it. We started the token, and we are starting it in partnership with other crypto companies. So other crypto companies are going to serve various purposes. Like some crypto companies are going to like be our listing partners. They're going to list it on their platform. Some companies are going to be funding partners. They're going to help us fund the token. But it's a token of BitSeeker, but we have multiple partners that we are releasing the token with. So ABCD token is basically a Naira backed or Naira pegged stablecoin token. So you can think of when you see USDT or USDC being dollar tokens pegged to the dollar. This is a Naira token pegged to the Naira. And I think so to explain to like a very simple minded person or someone who's not even in the crypto space, I would say, okay, imagine all the benefits of Bitcoin without the volatility pegged to a currency that you are familiar with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. So the familiarity is a very important aspect of what we are doing, because you understand that in this day and age today, it's very easy to get USDT, right?
Yes.
But I'm sure you store most of your money in Naira still, right? Because that's what you're familiar with. So what if someone gave you a better Naira, a Naira that has no downtime, a Naira that could not fail, a Naira that was the cheapest Naira you ever held just because of how cheap it is to move? You pay like 1 cent when you move it. A Naira that the government couldn't seize, the government couldn't tax, the government couldn't like control. Naira that once you have it, it's literally yours, controlled by your own keys. That would be like a game changer for a lot of people. So I see people using this in a number of ways. I see people using this as number one, an alternative bank account. Because look at the things I just mentioned about Naira in connection to you having it in your bank account. There's just so many things that could go wrong. One thing I even didn't mention was like the limits. So banks usually have daily limits because of regulators. Oh, like, why are you transferring, this amount of Naira in a day or in an hour? They could literally lock your account if you're transferring too much money at once, you understand?
Yes.
But with crypto, all those limitations are gone away. So the number one use case of ABCD would be as an alternative bank account. So I'm a Ghanaian, for example. If and I currently do business in Nigeria. Imagine I want to hold like a good amount of Naira. Let's say 5 million Naira, 10 million Naira, 30 million Naira, 50 million Naira, 100 million Naira. It's gonna be difficult for me to, as a foreigner, set up a bank account. As a foreigner, have that money in the account without fearing about someone locking the account, coming to ask me weird questions, someone restricting how much of my own money I can move around. You understand? So what if I had rather 50 million naira in Access Bank? I could have 50 million naira in ABCD tokens, and then I'll change it to paper naira once I need it. So if today I need a million, I can just move it into fiat naira, use it for whatever I want to do. If I need 2 million, I just move it. But the bulk of the money will be stored in tokens in an uncontrollable way. So number one use case is a bank account. Number two use case is obviously mitigation of volatility when trading, because when you're trading with crypto, you want to quickly move between a stable commodity and then your speculative commodity, which can be Bitcoin. And a lot of people use USDT for that. And USDT is quite expensive to gain because you first have to get Naira, buy Bitcoin, buy USDT, then go trade, come back to USDT, then Bitcoin, then Naira. You lose small percentages each step of the way. So USDT is just a very expensive commodity to deal in. Now, the ABCD token can fulfill all the purpose of USDT minus the unnecessary losses and fees, because it's a 1-to-1 ratio with Naira. So you can use the ABCD to trade, move money around 1,000,000 times a day without worrying about your bank. And then at the end of the day, when you're done trading, you can now move back into paper Naira if you wanted to. You understand? So that would be like the most efficient, a stable commodity for Nigerians to use to trade. Because someone might ask, okay, if you want me to use ABCD to trade as a stable coin, I could just use my normal Naira to trade as a stable coin. Well, that's true, but what about when your bank is down and because of that you lose so many trades because you can't make a transfer, or your bank having limits, so you have to run like 5 bank accounts simultaneously. Like improvements in technology is about user experience, and I think ABCD will bring a far superior user experience. And also, it's a spending currency. We're imagining a future where people would want to spend a crypto form of Naira because it's just far more easy to use than a fiat one or like a bank account one.
Okay, Mr. Atsu, I have a question for you actually concerning, you were saying when you were along the line. So the USDT, for example, it has a social number of dollar, the actual dollar backing it up. So the ABCD token, the Naira stablecoin, how much is in circulation and how much Naira is backing it up?
All right, so the ABCD token, as I said, will be launched in January 2020. That was a scheduled launch time, and it's going to be backed 1-to-1 with actual fiat Naira in banks we are working with, and also payment systems we are working with. So it's going to be backed by actual fiat, like actual fiat Nairas 1-to-1. So
I understand.
I understand.
So what I want you to say actually is how much will be in circulation when you,
okay.
So normally the stable coin, you have to back it up. Like
exactly.
When you have a stable coin, there should be a Naira, a physical Naira that is backing it up to show that this actually, if you are printing this amount of Naira stable coin, there is this also a physical money backing it up, the way USDT is being done.
Yeah. So when we're talking about circulation, our current targeted circulation for the first release is about $100,000 worth of Naira. That's our target for January. Could be a little higher, could be a little lower, but it's mainly going to depend on demand and supply. And I think that circulation question is good because it's like we are not going to just print so many tokens and put out there without having you understand, without it being backed or without having people want it. Because it's a cryptocurrency, we have the keys to print more into the system as people need it. So we can very much run this project on a need to basis as far as circulation is concerned. I don't know if you understand.
I
So it's
understand. So the this thing, the amount you say you're going to back it up with $100,000. How
yeah,
what
that's our projection for that. Yeah.
so what would be how would people know the transparency there? Like to know okay, this $100,000 backing it up. $100,000 should be around 360 million naira. So this is the actual money backing it up. When I know with time demand will increase, how will people know that okay, these people they are actually printing $100,000 worth of naira stablecoin? How would they know that you are not printing more than like you understand what I'm trying to say? Like when you are printing more than 100,000 and you are backing it up with 100,000. So these are things people will uh, want to understand.
Okay. So there are two sides of verification. You verify how much tokens are out there, and you also verify how much Naira is backing the token. So I think how much tokens are out there is very, very easy to verify because it's on the blockchain. So you can easily know the exact quantity of tokens that are out there. You don't even have to believe me, right? But when it comes to the Naira backing, that's when trust has to come in. And trust does have to come in because we are using there are various type of stablecoins. Some are what's the word? Some use algorithms to maintain their value. Some use debt. Some use just raw commodities to back their stablecoins, and that's what we are doing. So we're going to have auditors, lawyers, and bankers release reports signed by the banks and everything, showing the backing of the tokens by the fiat money. So the tokens, you could just go on the blockchain and see that, oh, they have 360 million tokens in circulation, and these amounts have been frozen, these amounts have been burnt. You can clearly see that. But for how much fiat we have backing those tokens in circulation, you'd need to look at the monthly audit letters that come out, and that's something customary to many stable coins in the market, in the ecosystem. So even USDC, USDT, Pax, I think there's a stable coin called, I think it's Paxos. Yeah. They release periodic, and there's one called stable USD as well. It's on the Binance chain. They release periodic like reports from their banks and from their auditors. You understand?
Yes.
That this is the amount of money signed by the banker, signed by the lawyers, signed by the auditors, and these are independent firms. That okay, this is the amount of fiat money in the bank account or on the payment platforms supporting the amount of tokens out there. You get what I'm saying?
I understand you. So actually, you
Our way of backing and proving our backing would be like the standard industry format that supports all the biggest stable coins use this format. So I think we're also just going to use the same formats with trusted institutions. Yeah.
okay? Thank you very much. The Naira stablecoin, the ABCD token. Well, what are your intentions? Like, do you want to list only on African exchanges or you want to list on global exchanges? So, what are the plans on ground?
Yeah. So we already have a few African exchanges who have like agreed to come on board, accepted it, start building it, start treating it as Naira. In the sense that if you go to them with that token, they'll accept it just as they accept Naira and give you whatever you want, whether it's Bitcoin or whatever. So we already have that on deck. We are also getting on one foreign exchange as well. So we are a Binance company. I don't know if you know this, but Binance, the crypto exchange Binance, is one of our primary investors, our first primary investor. So they have a lot of facilities that we are also exploring getting on top of. Um, but probably wouldn't say much about that. But Binance has so many facilities that we are trying to like look out and see which one would work for us. So you should probably look out for something like that as well, as far as Binance is concerned. Yeah, so foreign exchanges like Binance and then local ecosystem as well. And we are adding more platforms on board. The reception from the community, I think, has been good. And the truth is that this insider knowledge, but the truth is that by next year, you're going to see a few other African blockchain companies try and make stablecoins as well. I think 2020 will be the year of African stablecoins. Just letting you know.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So actually, from the look of things, it's going to serve like the USDT in various exchanges across the globe.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a few things I forgot to mention. So something like the USDT as well, right? Sorry, the ABCD token as well. Talking about, so I just spoke about like Binance, and we are exploring which of their facilities to use. So having something like ABCD token would give Nigerians the opportunity to trade directly on multiple exchanges around the world in their own local currencies, if you understand what I mean.
I understand.
It will be an easy onboarding process for Nigerians on many platforms across the world, not just even just exchanges. Like currently, a lot of websites around the world block Nigerian cards because they're just scared. They just don't trust Nigerian credit cards. But having a Naira token, tokens are actual real money. They are tangible. So you can never be scared that someone will pay with a token and the token will be invalid. As long as the token has a lot of places where it's accepted, you can it becomes a better option than, let's say, a credit card. So the ABC token would very much open the door for Nigerians to participate in the rest of the financial market of the world, and it would also open the rest of the financial market to also participate in our local crypto ecosystems as well. People from Ghana can now trade on Nigerian exchanges because of the stablecoin. They'll just buy the stablecoin in their country and trade on Nigerian exchanges. And I saw people from Zimbabwe, people from Kenya, people from Egypt can trade. Nigeria has the biggest liquidity in Africa, so they can just trade in Nigeria easily, and that would be far better than the Egyptian exchanges or the Ghanaian exchanges. Nigeria will basically have the best prices on the continent because if this stablecoin idea can be proliferated on a bigger scale.
Okay, that's very nice. Thank you very much. So just one more question. Recently, the CEO of Twitter visited Africa, and one of the countries he visited was Ghana. And we had some reports that by next year he'll be spending like half of the year, 6 months in Africa. So just a few time, just it has not been long, and you guys are coming up with you met him when he came to Ghana. So after that, some of these things are coming up. Is there anything related to that? Like all these stable coins, is it related to Jack?
No, Jack, that's a funny question because Jack is a pure Bitcoin guy. he would probably slap you if you mentioned any other coin in his presence. But he's a Bitcoin guy. So we were lucky enough to meet him. We were the only people he met in Ghana, like officially on a business level. So we felt, that was a very lucky experience for us. But Jack is mainly concerned about Bitcoin. So our meeting was just we came to like hang out with him and ask him a bunch of questions. But when we started hanging out, he had far more questions for us than you understand.
Yeah.
We did for him, and I really admired that because for someone at that level, you think he has a lot to teach you, but he also thought that you had more to teach him than he would give you. So it was like a very humbling experience meeting him. He was just open to learning. I met his other teammate members, Parag and Mike as well. It was just so open to learning. They were just curious. They were genuinely curious, asking genuine questions about things they didn't understand about the ecosystem. Because they're from America, they don't know much about. They can only imagine stuff. But like to actually hear about the ecosystem from someone here, that I think they appreciated that. So they are very much Bitcoin centric people. Jack is very bullish on Bitcoin. He's bullish on Bitcoin to the point that he's building all his Bitcoin projects are open source, basically. So open source meaning he'll build the project, or he and his team will build it, and then they'll release it to the public free. That hey, you understand?
Yes.
That hey, go use it if you want. They're going to use it in their own apps, but also you can use it if you want. So because people like that, billionaires like that, or people run big companies like that, they have a lot of interest to protect. You understand? Like if Apple is working on a new iPhone, people have to sign NDAs and they have to lock the door all the time because they don't want the information of the new product to get out. But here's a case where he's literally putting it out there for free for anyone in the world to build on and use. So that just shows you his conviction. Even though he's running $1 billion company, he's like, okay, I'm going to put this software out there for free. So that just shows you he's very much Bitcoin centric. So we should see him doing a lot of cool things. But he encouraged me to work on open source projects as well. But this ABCD thing is away from what his interests would be. He's more into, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. What before we round it over, just what's your background? Are you into financial sector or you're the tech guy?
Oh, so I'm more of a tech guy. I'm not even a finance person. I don't know anything about economics. I don't know anything about I'm just not a finance guy at all. I'm just like a tech guy. I'm just like a kid doing 1+1. I just sit in my chair. I'm like, okay, you have to drive to a bank to send money to Nigeria. Okay, what if we find a way to do it on the phone? I'm like a kid just doing 1+1 or ABCD. That's basic. I'm not an expert in any field, in whether it's economics or finance. I know nothing about economics. I know nothing about finance. And I avoid people who are experts in economics or finance as well, because I fear they might pollute you. But we managed to build an app that, just after 2 months, we are heading towards $1 million in transactions. So I think our baby thinking has sort of like helped us a lot. But my background is purely tech. I'm a self-taught programmer. Used to build open source Bitcoin projects as well. I previously built a way for people to transfer Bitcoin between phone numbers without the internet, right on their phones, using USSD. That was my first ever Bitcoin project and morphed into what we have now, the Bitsika app. So I'm purely tech background. I know nothing about finance or money or markets or any of the CNN business section topics.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. It's our pleasure having you here on our studio from CoinNewsExtra.com. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.